The woman swung her little magic whip. The man opposite blocked with his sword. His sword unexpectedly softened in his hand. The woman gave the man a cold look, then whipped him again. Instantly, the man turned into a statue. The man was taken away. This protagonist claimed to be a wizard with magical powers. He often told fortunes to wealthy young women, earning a handsome sum of money. One day, his scheme failed, and the buyers chased after him. He accidentally ran into a slide, but emerged from a tree hole. He found himself in a mysterious forest. A strange old man appeared behind him. The man took out his phone but had no signal. Picking up a tree branch, it turned into a tree. He thought he was dreaming. The old man glared with his cane, and a small tail grew on the man's butt. Then the old man pulled out a rein. Just as he handed it to the man, an arrow struck the old man in the back, and the strange old man disappeared. Then a group of knights charged over. The man made a bluffing gesture, and then turned to run, only to collide with a tree branch with a clan. The man was blindfolded and taken to the palace. The king saw the identical ring on the man's hand and immediately untied him. It turned out the man was the king's son from the previous reign, and also the last hero in this world. Then the queen walked over. The king asked the queen to arrange a room for the man, but the queen locked him up in the dungeon. At this moment, the man saw a bizarre scene. The man in front was frowning, but he was still alive. Then a girl and an old lady barged into the cell. The two skillfully cut off the man's iron chains and chiseled away all the ice. The man stood up and stretched. It turned out the man was a demon lord, imprisoned for seeking the magic sword. They defeated the guards and took the man into a hut. The hut had chicken feet, and it ran swiftly. They escaped through numerous obstacles, and after a night's journey, shook off their pursuers, finally stopping in a forest. The demon lord hoped the man would help him find the magic sword and promised to send him back to the real world once they found it. So they reached an agreement and embarked on an adventurous journey. They arrived at a gloomy swamp where a girl sat her day alone on the shore. A green monster emerged from the water. Spotting the beautiful girl ahead, it swiftly swam over and began to chat with the girl. A small lobster crawled onto the monster's shoulder and whispered a few words in its ear, sensing something unusual with the girl, and began to attack the girl on the shore. The man and the demon lord, hiding behind, rushed forward, explaining the situation to the green-haired monster. It turned out the green-haired monster was a water god who could help them cross the river of death, but the water god was unwilling. At this moment, the witch hiding behind thought of a solution. She took out a bottle of magic potion and poured it onto a withered apple core, which soon turned into a fresh red apple. The witch quickly picked it up and took a bite, transforming into a mature woman. The water god was confused. Thus, the beautiful girl set off on the journey to find the magic sword together with the water god. The queen extended her magic whip into the water. The water in the swamp boiled instantly, and the lobster, cooked all over, jumped up helplessly. It revealed the whereabouts of those people. The demon lord finally led this group of people to the river of death. The river was filled with giant man-eating fish. Soon, the queen's army also arrived. With no way to escape, they all jumped into a well together. The girl soaked in the well water returned to her original state. The water monster was truly shocked. And to prevent everyone from drowning here, the water god dived into the water and absorbed all the well water into his belly. They reached the bottom of the well and found an escape route. They prepared to leave with the water god, but he had drunk too much well water and could not move at all. After bidding farewell reluctantly, everyone left the bottom of the well, leaving only the water god to block the exit with his last strength. At this time, the queen also arrived at the bottom of the well. The water god spat a mouthful of water onto the queen's face, laughing triumphantly. Angered, the queen took out her whip and turned the water god into a statue. A large amount of well water lost control from the water god's body and gushed out of him, causing the queen to be sprayed out of the well. The group of people didn't get far before being captured by the queen's army again. They arrived at the place where the magic sword was hidden. The man picked up a wooden stick casually, and it turned into a dazzling sword. This was the legendary magic sword with immense power. The man swung the magic sword lightly, and a powerful sword aura directly knocked down the queen opposite. The man untied his teammates and gave the magic sword to the demon lord. At this moment, the king suddenly appeared in front of them. The demon lord exchanged the gem with the king using the magic sword, but the real gem was still in the queen's hands. Suddenly, the frog girl took advantage of the king's inattention and tackled the king down. The man broke free from the soldiers on both sides, seizing the magic sword from the ground. Just when everyone thought they would be rescued, the man drew a circle in the air and then swung hard. The man left his teammates behind and returned to the real world alone. The man returned to his familiar life, but he still missed the girl deeply. He wanted to return to the fantasy world through the same means as before, but his strange behavior attracted the attention of the police. In the police station, the protagonist encountered the strange old man from before. The old man drew a portal in the air with his wand And just like that, the protagonists went through the portal back to the palace. At this moment, the king and queen were dressed in their finery. They were embedding gems into the magic sword. In order to gain eternal power, the protagonist attempted to stop all this. He pulled out a gun and attacked the king, but it couldn't harm the king at all. The protagonist began to persuade the king with smooth words. And indeed, the king put down the magic sword. He engaged in hand-to-hand combat with the protagonist. And soon, the protagonist's strength waned. He was stepped on by the king, while at the same time, the demon lord picked up the gem and threw it into the air, then wielded the magic sword. As the gem shattered, the king instantly turned into ashes, disappearing into the air, and the demon lord also turned into dust. The queen was so frightened that she jumped out of the palace. With the disappearance of the evil forces, the people petrified by the queen were finally all revived, and everyone resumed their peaceful lives.